All right, we move on now with just 3 games left. UAB, UTSA, meet. We got the Roadrunners, 5-point home favorites, 53.5 the total in this one. This is going to be a good test for UTSA to see if they can keep this undefeated season alive. They obviously had to work for it against Southern Miss last week, much harder than they thought. And UAB's no pushover. They've been one of the better teams in Conference USA for years. They beat Marshall outright as underdogs, 21-14. The defense got back to looking like the UAB defense of years past in that game against Marshall. We'll see how they fare here against UTSA, though. I like UTSA to win the game. I don't know if I want to lay 5 because I respect the hell out of the Blazers, and they have covered 4 straight on the road. The under's gone 4 straight on the road in UAB games as well. So this might be an under. I could see this with so much at stake. You look at the standings in Conference USA right now going into this big game. You've got UTSA 6-0, UAB 5-1. If UAB wins and they're both 6-1 in conference, UAB gets the tiebreaker because they had beaten UTSA. So this is an enormous game, one of the toughest opponents for UTSA all year. I still think, when push comes to shove, even last week, they showed not their best game, found a way that even, if they're back and forth and they struggle here with UAB, which I think they will, I think it's a tight game, close game, but I think they can find a way to pull it out. I just don't want to lay 5 here against this UAB team, and I lean to the under a little bit. Conor, Mac, what do you think?
This is an interesting game, interesting spot. Obviously, I think they were looking to this game. I mean, UTSA, last week, Southern Miss, they were sleepwalking through that first half for sure. And they probably got an ass chewing at halftime, came out, took care of business. It's 4.5. This is the big game. I mean, I like UTSA for almost all year long. It's tough to go against them now. I was on UAB last week. We talked about Marshall. I can't bet them, and they laid down like they normally do. So I was glad I was on UAB. UAB's defense played better. Maybe it just took looking at Marshall to play better. That defense got shredded against Rice and Louisiana Tech. They just had to get the normalcy of kicking Marshall's ass to play better. So interesting game. I have nothing on it right now. I like it. Now here he comes.
You know what it is. When
Look
you're
at that hairdo.
Something to you, Jose, that's going to make you feel good. UTSA is 8-0 against the spread this year when they're laying less than 3 touchdowns or
Very
3
good.
touchdowns or less. The only 2 they didn't cover was when they were massive favorites against Southern Miss last weekend, and then the other one was when they were 21.5 against UNLV, and they won by 7. Other than that, in these competitively lined games like this game against UAB, they've consistently won. They've consistently covered. So there's your to prop you up as a Roadrunner.
Thank you. By the way, gentlemen, I just want to let you know I have put a significant, I would say one of my largest bets in a long time on UTSA -5. I'll be at the game. I was at the Southern Miss game. I've told you guys before this, probably this is the most important game in UTSA history.
It is.
They've had it a couple times this season. This is a playoff game to get into the conference championship game. They win this game going away. The Alamo Dome's rocking. I guarantee the cover of -5.
Yeah, they could have been looking ahead to this game as well last week.
Absolutely,
it sure as hell looked like it with the way they played. But
they better watch the last game of the year though against North Texas team that's starting to play better. So big win if they get the big win that let down of going to North Texas, who all of a sudden was dog shit, who I took early in the year, has played a lot better. So interesting last couple of games to see if UTSA can get it done.
And North Texas is their rival. That's their only conference rival because Texas State stinks and Texas doesn't want that smoke. But I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. But UTSA big this week, guys. And by the way, you know the weight of my heart with these 2 back-to-back games here. You know how to get me here.
Exactly. Well, it's the one thing about UAB though is Road Warriors this year. I mean, the 2 losses were at home, but on the road they've been terrific. So that's a great game though. We'll have to wait. This is actually one of the better games on the card Saturday. It's an important game. It's going to decide who's in the championship on that side of the division. UAB and UTSA, and it is huge. If you're UTSA, you win, you're undefeated, you're going to the championship game. You lose your undefeated season. You're probably not going to the championship game, or at least a very good chance you're not going to the championship game. So huge game. It goes without saying. That's not hyperbole by our guy Jose. This is the biggest game that UTSA football has ever had.
It is,
No doubt.
but he said that every week, which is funny. What Chris Comentini said.
That's not true. That's not
You
true.
say it every week.
Game. This is the
Okay.
fourth one of the season, Connor. We knew this coming in. We're a small
Okay.
program, only 10 years of history. Give us a break.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah,
It's
every
still
game,
an
I guess,
amazing
is
year
the
they
That's
put
true.
together. Yeah.
That's coach talk. Coaches say that shit. This is the biggest game. Every game. Yeah.
Every game should be the biggest